What is it that is making men commit suicide?
Many men are committing suicide, mostly because of financial pressure.
Everyone has issues. Everyone has struggles.
Whenever you face a situation, you shouldn't just keep it to yourself. Have someone to talk to.
I want to say on my chair.
So
You don't have anyone to talk to as a man. You should let your life be ended by the one who created it.
Welcome to yet another edition of Beyond the Surface podcast. This podcast is proudly sponsored by Father to Son Support Network. So this is a podcast where we invite men of honor and influence to share their experience, to share their expertise, to share their knowledge on particular skills in terms of what affects men in the society and in the community. Today we are going to be discussing yet another insightful topic, and we obviously believe that you are going to be blessed and you are going to also learn one or two things that you are going to share on this platform. Of course, we are blessed and surrounded by men of honor, and I just want to introduce them before we get into the gist of things. So to my far left, we have a gentleman by the name Sir Wallen. So Sir Wallen is a certified town planner, and he is also a motivational speaker, and I believe that he is in so many spaces that he continues to share his knowledge in. And also we have Coach Max Shitaka. Coach Max Shitaka is the founder of Father to Son Support Network. He's also a certified life coach. He's also an author of this wonderful book that we have today, Father to Son. He also is a father, and he also is a grant writer. And we are thank you so much, and we are blessed to have you on this platform. And on to my right as well, we have Coach Tabani Masuku. So Coach Tabani Masuku is a marriage counselor, is a certified life coach, is an entrepreneur, is a forex trader. And as well we have Coach Nigel Mamfumo. So Coach Nigel Mamfumo is a youth coach, he's an SRC member as well, and he's also the founder of Rwanda State University Coaching and Mentoring Club. And amongst the things that he does as well, he also is the youth director for Coach Emma Incorporation. I believe he's doing wonderful work there. And on my far right, we have Coach, we have Sir Grayson. So Sir Grayson is a pastor, he's also a banker, he's also an entrepreneur and an author. And I believe his expertise and experience will very much help us in this discussion today. So the topic for today that we are going to be discussing is the mask of masculinity. Why men choose suicide. I believe in the community that you're living in, there are so many aspects that if we look at, we obviously are going to come across individuals, men to be precise, that are succumbing to suicide, and we want to just demystify that topic. We want to demystify why is it so many men are actually committing suicide as a generation. What are we lacking rather in imparting knowledge or in shaping skills that we can prevent suicide? So I just want to ask maybe the panel that we have today, just to ask them, what is it that is making men commit suicide? What does the numbers tell us in order to just estimate what is it that is making men commit suicide? So I'll start to my far right. We have Sir Grayson. Of course, he is a pastor. I believe he meets so many people. He meets so many men in his let's say when he's pastoring. So I want maybe him to just share or enlighten us on what make men commit suicide?
Thank you, Coach. I think that men commit suicide because it's the easiest way out at the given time. Having calculated everything, it's the easiest escape route. But I think we're discussing it now because it has many repercussions to the living. Statistics are very worrying because I think worldwide they're estimating that 75% of suicides are committed by men. And I think men have got 3.5 times chances of committing suicide than our women for. So I think that it is worrying, particularly to the living. What are the causes of suicide? Like I said, at the given moment, it will be the easiest way out. Number two, they say suicide is hereditary. There are tentacles of suicide in families. You realize that when one family member commits suicide, they are trend setting. If that trend was not there, they are setting the trend to other generations. Those, my church folk will talk of generational issues because blood speaks. So sometimes when a person commits suicide, they are taking heed to blood that is being demanded somewhere. So there are various reasons, but I think to a particular instance, it's mainly, that's my easiest way out. I can't handle these things, and this is the easiest way out for me. So suicide is really selfish if you look at it.
Thank you very much. Moving on to our youth coach, maybe from the young perspective, coming from the young generation, what would you want to say that is making a lot of students that are out there commit suicide?
Okay, thank you, Coach Kam, for the question. So, for students, for them to choose suicide, as Mr. Grayson had said, that is the easiest way out. There are a lot of mental health issues that students suffer out there. So, some of these problems, it could be financial issues in terms maybe of school fees, the fees, and the way maybe the child is performing won't be exactly tallying. Like, I get maybe to fail certain modules or fail to meet certain expectations from my parents. And as I go home at the end of the semester and I'm asked to produce my results, I don't even have that courage. But my results, my father accepts this, so I can't get home. So maybe it's best if I just maybe take this suicide route and never be a problem or never be considered a liability. Or even maybe they might say I'm finishing up the fees, Malaysia fees, we have been sponsoring you, but you are not being serious with your education, so that person might even choose that maybe the easiest way is for me not to exist, so that I'm no longer a cost to my parents.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that wonderful insight. And I want to move on to Coach Tabani. As an entrepreneur, as a marriage counselor, I've seen or I've read so many articles where they are saying you had to invite it's negative no content. I put you invite to community suicide because Kashinji Kasho Longo Rome is providing, but he gets to be cheated on. And then he safely says, you mean I was a panel let me just commit suicide. Maybe that's the easy way out. So what can you say in terms of the entrepreneurs in the married people out there?
Thank you so much, Coach. So from a marriage counselor's point of view, it's very true. Many men are committing suicide, mostly because of financial pressure from home. knowing that I am the father of the house, and with the economy, how things are going, I am not able to provide for my family, or things are not quite getting to where I wanted them to be. Someone would then say, just kungoti ndisave an embarrassment to my wife, to my in-laws. Your in-laws will be calling, maybe we need this, we need that, and you are not able to provide. You then now feel less of a man, especially if you go out there and you see other men are doing things, and so at the end of the day, you feel like, let me just end it. And another thing also is lack of purpose. Lack of purpose, where someone feels like, I am not fulfilling anything, I'm just a burden to people. The person will likely commit suicide because they don't have anything to live for. Imagine if someone has got a purpose, he has got a vision where they want to fulfill something. They know that maybe some people, I need to provide this to other people, or I'm feeding homeless children, I am taking care of people, old people's homes and all. That person is less likely to commit suicide because they know that they have a purpose. They have people that are depending on them.
Thank you very much. Moving on to Coach Chitaka. Coach Chitaka is an author of Father to Son. So I believe in your book you shared some insights to men. So many men think that life is a race, and they think they have to get this done by a certain time frame. And when they get to do that, I think they have so many things. I mean, maybe in your interaction with other men as well, maybe coming from your book, what have you actually seen that maybe this is the likely cause, or this is the likely numbers that commit suicide because of these certain matters?
Okay, thank you so much, Coach Carl. What I've seen when I interact with other men and even with boys, there is a challenge. There are two maybe basic issues that are causing maybe suicide: economic issues and relationship issues. And if you check most of my suicide that are taking place, it's either it's economic, someone are paid, mostly we've come to a point of dark crews are paid. I've tried, and this is where I'm ending. Dark crews are paid to a point of which we quickly give up and we throw in the towel. And how are we throwing in the towel? We are committing suicide. That's one. The other issue in terms of relationship, I don't know, our youngsters, I think, it's my opinion, I think there's a bit of over commitment in relationships. To a point like the last suicide that took place, I think it was here in Blawe, where a young man invested in a young girl. He took her from after O-level university, the moment she graduated, she discarded that guy, and that man couldn't take it, and he committed suicide. So I think things have changed. I think society has evolved, especially our ladies, or the girl child has been developed to a certain point. Yet the boy child or the men, we are not yet where we will be left behind now. So there is a bit of an imbalance in terms of how we are appreciating things now. So with us men, we are now quickly saying, no, why is it happening like this? It used to be this way. So if it happens this way, I would rather die. So that's my point of view. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you very much, Coach Chitaka. So coming maybe to say one again, since you are an entrepreneur as well as a young person, maybe panyaze business, panyaze kubata mali. What can you say, or what can you maybe share to us to say, or these are the things, or the common pitfalls for these young people as entrepreneurs? We've heard of cases of entrepreneurs that are committing suicide. Is it because economic side or maybe the entrepreneurial side of it, I can't do this anymore.
Oh, alright. Thank you so much, Coach. I'd like to do a follow-up on the talk with Coach Taka, which it is a lot to do with the relationships. There's I think last year, but there was a case here this year when he was an entrepreneur. Our entrepreneur that really had to take the lady through college until she started working. Then a few years down the line, the young man found out that the lady was now in an intimate relationship with someone else. Then he didn't have anyone to talk to pertaining that issue. So the easy way out for him was committing suicide. So that's another issue. Another one, which has to do with our social masculinity. You're going to see that Panama cases, if a man is going through certain things, so you don't have anyone to talk to as a man. So eventually, my emotions are the thoughts. It's something to until you commit suicide.
Wow. Thank you.
So as you've read for yourself, these are some of the issues, or these are some of the highlights of why men commit suicide, simply because they might either be facing something, or either they might have not any place that they might want to share it to. So maybe coming to another question that we have, and maybe I'll pose this question to say, Grayson, to say, what is the psychological makeup of a man? What goes through his mind as he encounters certain situations? And are we saying that as he faces those situations, is it a sign of depression, or is it a sign of mental health that he said to himself, I just want to commit suicide because I no longer believe that I'm contributing to the society, or I'm contributing to the purpose that God has given me? What can you say about that?
I think men are as emotionally vulnerable as women. Men are physically, generally speaking, stronger than women. But in terms of emotional strength, perhaps we're just the same.
Or we actually waste.
Or we are actually worse than our women counterparts. So I think the real tragedy has been that we are ignoring or we are no longer taking advantage of safety nets that men were privy to, particularly culturally. In some platform, I had occasion to talk about the system of dowry. Men would talk to men. When I know you guys are coaches, you talk of mentorship. Mentorship was there in our culture, well structured and very much celebrated. Then came westernization, which seemed to abrogate the strengths of our culture. Now we have the isolated man in a more competitive world. In a world that demands him to measure up more than the olden day. And he now faces an empowered woman. And those issues most of our men folk are struggling to grapple with. So we have done away with safety nets that we used to enjoy. Now that we are not safe, we are vulnerable. Whom do we talk to? No one. So the scapegoat becomes suicide. As opposed maybe to our women counterparts who are verbalizers. They are naturally verbalizers. It's not like they are consciously verbalizers. they are natural verbalizers. They process by verbalization. The man first thinks and processes and then speaks. The woman processes by speaking. So it gives the woman an advantage in terms of processing issues as opposed to the man. The man, you will agree, when there's a problem at home, you don't talk over it, you think over it and then talk to someone. And it's not a weakness, it's the differences we have. But when we are stuck, we no longer have safety nets, which were there in our culture particularly, and we no longer have those. So it leaves the man very vulnerable.
Thank you very much. So, following up from said question insights, maybe question actually you might want to share some things. So, Apasisina like Anana Sekuru and those people that we looked unto for wisdom. So, seven generation or maybe it's the young generation. What can you say? Where are you now getting the ways of wisdom? And if kind of like if it gets so much and so overwhelming, where do you say I'm now offloading my thoughts, my insecurities to?
Okay. For me personally, I was lucky enough to have to encounter like life coaching at a young age. So whenever I face a situation or any problem, I have mentors to turn to. I have coaches to turn to. So the moment I joined the Coachman Corporation family, that's when I got to appreciate life coaching and also getting to appreciate whenever I face a situation, you shouldn't just keep it to yourself. Have someone to talk to. And even the aspect of men up, Murume and Cheme, Chichichi. Through Father to Son, we've been also having online main talks. And I've also gotten appreciation or got to learn no matter what, don't let those emotions bottle up, because at the end when they explode, they will harm you. And that's when people choose maybe suicide is an option, but it's not an option to choose. So find someone to confide to. Find someone to talk to whenever you have anything that is stressing you. We believe that everyone needs a life coach. So make sure that you have someone, even though we no longer have the diary, they are lacking and slacking, but we are glad that Father to Son Vision and some other main support networks out there, they are trying to restore and make sure that men, they come together, they discuss issues, and they are trying to make sure that men get to open up. So my advice is for someone to find someone, that very close person, to confide to, whom you can speak to and tell whatever issue you are facing with, because I believe that when an issue is said to someone, there is a solution that the next person that you share with gives you.
Thank you very much. To the listeners out there, actually heard that he's talking about the issue of getting life coaches or having a life coach in your life, so that at least you get some insights on how your life will be turned around. But I have this question to say, could you, let's say maybe that individual who are really in a marginalized area, my life coaches, right? What can that person do? Let's say I'm coming from a rural background and I'm gonna, those the society, but not necessarily there isn't someone like that. So what can you say, Kuti? Those waiters say can share, that option.
The good thing, if I can follow that question, in your deep rural areas, the cases of suicide are not as pronounced as they are in the urban cities. There's lots of competition in urban cities. There is limited safety nets. In the rural areas, they are actually there compared to city. Though we might have a high density of people, it doesn't mean there is a high density of connectedness. So what what I seem to pick as well has been the lack of trusting relationships. There has been a talk about men need to speak up, which I argue that it's secondary. Men struggle with trust. They don't struggle with speaking.
Yes.
We can spend the whole day talking to strangers. We talk about football, we talk about politics, we talk about Donald Trump, but we don't talk about issues that affect us. Because when it comes to trust, we struggle with trust. So there has been a lot of conversations about men opening up. They open up when they trust. So men need to intentionally build trusting relationships such that speaking becomes easy.
Thank you very much, for that wonderful point there. And then maybe coming to Coach Tabani, yes, we have heard this notion that women are now sophisticated in terms of how they are operating. Maybe the men doesn't have that same opportunity, and then they feel like, I am lesser of a man because of the responsibility that I'm actually taking care of. Maybe they are very much less. So why is it so many men in marriage or maybe institutions of marriage, why are they sort of like committing or going to that route to say suicide now is the solution?
Okay. So looking at especially marriage setups, you see that like what say Grayson was saying, men are usually logical. And women are emotional. So you see that for a man, they tend to even amplify. They may have, because they know that I am the source. I am the one who is supposed to be providing. At a small instance where they feel like they are lacking, they may think about it logically, criticize it, sleep on it for days, and it ends up becoming a big issue. Whereas it was not a big issue if they had shared it maybe with Coach Chitaka. But like what Saint Grayson was saying, that men are lacking people that they trust. The moment I come to you and I talk to you that I've been trying to push my business, it's been down these days, and my wife is the one who is providing. Tomorrow I'll see it on social media that he's not taking care of the family. He's not doing 1, 2, 3. So at the end of the day, now the man will decide to just sink on his own. He will just decide to sink on his own. To say, I will try, if I fail, I will die by myself. I won't share with anyone. So that's the problem that we are having these days.
Thank you very much for that insight. Maybe coming to Coach Chitaka. So suicide didn't really start now, but in the biblical times we can notice and we can read that there are so many that committed suicide. Maybe the likes of Saul, the likes of Samson, and the likes of Judas Iscariot. So what can you say about in terms of like men's mental health? What is it that is happening inside the brain of a man that he says to himself, I think I have done all the logical calculations there is, and now I just want to just end it because I don't see the reason for me to continue.
Okay, thank you. I think we may say yes, it's to do with the mental health stability of that particular individual. But what I feel is the biggest challenge that men are facing. It also relates to what these other guys were saying. To say we don't have any safe space to talk. To know Sangana as men, we talk about Manchester. Where is Manchester? Manchester is in the UK. We talk about Donald Trump, we could talk politics, we talk all the other issues. But to tomorrow morning, you hear this same guy that you're talking to committed suicide. He will never tell you to say, I know, Shamari, we can't be talking about Manchester, but at home, I don't have meal for my children. At home, my wife did ABC and D. Things are not well at home. Who don't do that?
So men talk, they don't trust.
Yes, we are very good at discussing all that. So what we need to do, we need to evolve as men and create spaces for ourselves where we discuss pertinent issues and learn to trust each other as well, because things have changed. There are no longer any uncles anymore whom we go to and say, uncle, this is happening. And the moment you go to the uncle, you're saying it will be on social media already. So these are some of the challenges. But I think if men would really come together, I like what women are doing. Women, they have so many clubs. They go to this club, they go to church, there's the Zana, they meet, they discuss issues. And they go in any street, you find women in twos discussing, you see, there's a bunch of
Because they are verbalizers.
They are verbalizers, yes. But with us, I'm going to work. I'm going back to work. If it's someone who drinks, he goes to the bar, he buys his own beer, he drinks alone. If ever we decide to talk, we are talking about some other issues. And we also I just want to also comment on the system on its own. It's not conducive for men. It's like the men up issue. I don't know if we might call it it's toxic, but I don't like the word toxic. It's some of the things that's how we are, like Mr. Grossin is saying. So the system on its own it pushes a lot of pressure on men to say, you are a provider, you have to provide. Whether you're working or you're not working. And even I might be married to my wife. And I lose my employment, my wife is still working. It's, in some cases, if the wife decides, she might say, I will pay everything else, but the rent, you have to look for whichever way you're going to look for the money and pay the rent.
Yes.
So there's a huge expectation on men to provide. But are we still able to do that? Do you still have the opportunities? If you don't have the opportunity, what do you do? You can't discuss with the neighbor. You can't talk to anyone. So in the end, those that are weak, they end up crumbling and committing suicide.
Yes, that's very true. And as you were saying from your response, that it is difficult for men to actually trust, but they can actually speak out whatever it is, of any subject, of any area. So I would want to pose a question maybe to say why is it men can speak about anything, can buy you a drink of or maybe a beer, but when you say to them, right, that at home there is no meaning, at maybe at school I haven't done this and I currently need assistance. Why is it that it is so much difficult for you to actually help and lend a hand to your brother or to your peer to say, this is $20, but you actually prefer to buy a drink, but not knowing that the situation back at home is not good.
Alright, thank you so much for that. In a business, I do believe that men that mentality you want to feel is kings. So now when someone comes now, tell them my emotions and how I'm feeling, I start to think that maybe I might look good. I might look good. I was something figured out I'm a man, especially if you're someone that muscular, body-wise, you don't fit. It's not going about you are vulnerable in these areas A, B, and C. Someone who's got to and this man actually makes A, B, and C. Is plus we have that mindset to we want to see that let the people who know the community could already everything is okay. Then we put up and everybody smile, everything is okay. But there is warfare, everything is just so it's something else.
Because you know that men, A man's a friend, a close friend of yours, can buy you beer, but will never give you money for rent. They can buy you beer and get you drunk, but they will never give you money to say, okay, here's $100, go and pay your rent. But they can take you to the bar and buy you beer the whole night. And spend $100. So I don't know what is with us, but we need to really look at it closely and see where it's coming from.
I think on that issue, mostly it also comes back to the way you present yourself as the one in need. Because sometimes if I just come and I pretend as if everything is okay, there is no way people will help me. And on the other hand also, even if you speak out that you need help, mostly men, like I say, that men are logical. Sometimes someone will calculate, what am I going to get out of this? Buying new beer is because they know that you are keeping them company as they are buying new beer. You are telling them stories, you are socializing, and you are keeping them company. But if they give you money, what are they going to get out of it? So most people would want to put their money where they would know that at least I'm going to get something. So that's why it's important for men to be taught, at least to speak sense when you're speaking to someone. So that at least when you need help, you present something that can be valuable. At least so that it becomes value exchange. Other than just, it's actually in our culture, the way we were raised, it's funny for a man to go and ask for help from another man and be given help just for free, and you go.
You rather send your wife to go in.
Exactly.
Wow. Yeah, you can hear it for yourselves. In case you are joining us for the first time, we are Father to Son Support Network. We are sharing some particular insights on suicide, why men choose suicide. And I believe that we have a lot of things maybe that you can unearth listening to this podcast and this interaction as well. And one of the things that I've actually encountered out there is a man, is that most times you see that most of the influential figures, the pastors, the leaders, and the people that are honored in the society, you come across, I'm thinking, I've actually had a certain scenario where I think one of the businessmen here in Bavaria committed suicide. Right? And you'll be thinking to yourself, what is it that is making that person think that way? And I want maybe to pose this question to say, then who coaches or who mentors the pastors, the president, or the people of higher, of higher regard, to say whenever they have issues, is it possible to say now, yes, we honor Coach Chitaka, and maybe Coach Chitaka says, guys, I'm really struggling at home, my finances are not really coming up nicely. So those that they look up to now, what is the picture that maybe would represent to say, but this person, we look to him, so much, but he's saying that he's struggling. So what safety net can we say can be cultured or can be cultivated in that regard?
Okay. I think that unfortunately there cannot be a person who can be covering every vulnerable man. I think we need to conscientize men to develop relationships and to understand as a society that everyone has struggles. Everyone with mine.
Yes.
Everyone with a name or without a name. Everyone has issues. Everyone has struggles. And that when we have that understanding, we can relate with them as human beings. Sometimes why men are lonely is because you hold me in high esteem and I cannot be vulnerable because I'll disappoint you. So I end up locking myself in a prison. But we need to know that any and every man you see has their set of struggles. Whether you see it or you don't, they do. Because they are human. Every human being has issues that they are grappling with. So, but we cannot delegate a specific person to interface with them. It's up to the respective individual to say, I need to develop a relationship that helps me with this. Sometimes it's not about developing a relationship with one person. On issues, maybe you are in a corporate world, you have got some issues at work, you can have a people or a person you speak to say, hey, at work there is this particular challenge. That person might not necessarily be your go-to person for your marriage. You can go to a totally different person to say, I've got this marital issue, I need help. Well, what can you help me with? When it comes to entrepreneurship, you can go to a totally different person. So you need a circle. That's what I believe. You need a circle of go-to people. And this is why the Dare system that I spoke about was very helpful, because it was a collection of different skills, collection of wisdom, addressing different issues. So the wealth that was on the table, wealth of wisdom on the table, was very high.
Yes.
The mentorship system, whilst it is good, it might not do everything. If I know of a corporate lady that I speak to on some corporate issues, she cannot necessarily help me when I am fighting with other men. She doesn't know that well. So I have to talk to someone else. So I need a circle of sound men that I can bring issues to.
So you need a wealth of men that you can bring issues to. It may not necessarily be one person is invested in a certain area, but it might actually mean that you go to different people that are invested in so many areas, or maybe in a particular area. So maybe coming to...
So it means, let me just finish. I've got my boy. My boy mentors me on technology.
Okay. Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
When I have an issue or I'm failing to comprehend something technological, he's the first person I go to. Hey, I'm stuck here. What do I do? Say, okay, let me go through it. He says, now I found the solution. So I have a mentor in my son.
Yes.
In terms of technology. But I can't go to him and say, hey, my marriage is a problem.
So Mr. Grayson, in other words, you are saying we ought to look for someone like a confidant, someone you can have confidence in.
Yes.
To say if pertinent personal issues arise, I go to this guy.
Yes.
And I trust him.
Yes.
He will not spill the beans and he will help me.
Yes. And I'm saying that person might depend on the issues they have a strength in.
Yes.
It might not be one person you tell all the issues. It might be dependent on the issue at hand.
Okay.
So it's a net of
Yes,
individuals.
I was listening to someone calling it a personal board. You have your board of advisors. They don't necessarily have to sit on a table, but you are the one who goes through it.
Okay.
I also want to add that for instance, if someone, if a young man or even any man, feel we have a serious issue that is affecting him, I've seen even a stranger, another man, just a mere stranger, a man that you've never seen, you go to him, speak your issues. I know they will help you. So I'm just trying to emphasize that suicide is not an option.
It cannot, it should not. Also, developing relationships, sometimes your own sons, your own children might struggle to talk to you as a father. but creating a platform for them to have people they can talk to, sound people that can speak into them is very critical.
Yes.
And don't take offense that they confide in him and not in me. They might struggle to confide in me as their biological father, but I might need to be proactive before things get out of hand to say, okay, let me speak to so and so to have a relationship with my son. Some of the issues that my son thinks, I hear them from other people, and I'm not used to it.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe now sharing in the instance of absent fathers and those people that didn't really have a father figure was growing up. So maybe they think to themselves, now this issue is overwhelming me. So maybe coming to you, say Grace, once again, to say, how do now those individuals resolve or maybe solve their issues in that case? To say, I don't have a father figure, but I'm really struggling. I'm just getting pieces and bits here of knowledge, of information on how I can maneuver through this whole journey. But let's say I'm overwhelmed to such an extent that I think about suicide. What can I do?
Okay. Of course, they might be fatherless, but remember, I'm a father, but even my son is not coming to me. So they can go to someone. It is important, very important, to find someone to speak to. But that finding, for it to work, has to be done by you. Find some confidential people, some that you can trust. I think generally, if you feel your network just as your peers, you might need to tear that boundary, look for people older or much older than you who say, "But what's your problem? There's no problem here. You have a problem of a girl. That's a small issue. You're not even married. Just sleep over it. In a 2 weeks or so, you'll heal, relax.
Look for another one.
Look for another one. So you just need someone who has a totally divergent view from you, who might not be aware of your actual circumstances, but they totally like the body in a company. These are people who are not in the day-to-day operations, who will come and say, your reputation is bad, change A, B, C, D. So you need to go beyond your peers, to just talk to someone. That person might not necessarily be your coach or something, but someone whose opinion you can respect. So suicide should not cross your mind when you begin or when you develop relationships. Because people end up getting stuck because you need to develop these relationships before things go wrong, because you have not cultivated these relationships. So cultivate relationships when everything is fine.
Yes.
When people you just talk to, Mdara, how did you buy your first car? It was a Peugeot 404. I saved money like ABC, just having casual conversations with people. So be intentional to have people you talk to. It might not start off as big issues, but just know that the day that you are stuck, I can go and knock at the door and say, hey, Dad, I need help. So be intentional about it, and it doesn't have to happen in crisis times.
Thank you so much, Sir Chris, for that wonderful point. And maybe coming to Coach Nigel, I've heard so many cases that of drug and substance abuse that are there. And you can actually see that nowadays there are sophisticated means of actually abusing drugs. And most of the times you hear someone ask for far because the overdose to Azofa because they were thinking that, having that drug or that element in your system, is the way to solve issues. So what can you say maybe to the youngsters that are listening out there that are using drugs and are sort of like having, that age, kana zvinzvanetsa ndofana kungorova 1 2 1 2 then ndafila high, then life goes to go on.
Okay, drug abuse is not an option because the moment you say I faced a situation, I take that drug, I go drunk. The moment I get sober, that problem is still there, not solved. So, what Mr. Grayson was saying that you have to have people to confide your issues to is the best solution because even if I take a drug, the problem is still there, it's not yet solved. But if I find someone to talk to, if I ever go to people, I know that if I go to Coach Chitaka, my problem is solved. If I go to my brother Walen, maybe it's an issue about a relationship, I know he will advise me on something as long as I trust in him because we're saying that everything means they lack trust. So as long as you trust that person, you can just go and share your issues with him.
That's awesome insight. Then we're moving on to building up from the point that you just highlighted. Then I just want to ask maybe Coach Tabani to say, Mudzimbang, in the issues of pertaining to marriage, Mumbo is so far away, Mumbo anyone their purpose. Because yes, of course, someone might cheat, someone might not be really impressed with the way that you handle stuff in the home. Or you feel like, yes, maybe Coach Chitaka had another fifth wife out there, and now he's just coming out 20 years later to say, this one is my child. So what can you say? How can you say, how can we resort to resolving that issue to say, yes, I know there was infidelity in between, yes, I know there was these things that we had, but now, no solution.
I think panyaya that chinoitika usually is let me just take it back bija. In the generation yatokurarama, like what say Grayson was saying, when people were growing up, men were prepared for marriage, women were prepared for marriage. They knew what they were getting themselves into. But these days now, we have got a society that is running away from responsibility. They just want temporary pleasure. So at the end of the day, issues infidelity. Ekuti munhu anopinda mu marriage not because they are ready, but because pane mistake yaitika. You understand? Kuti maybe munhu amitisa mwana wevanhu. Now they are told to die wakufara kutogara naye mwana iye. Of which that person anogona akamumitisa not because aimuda, but maybe they just wanted to experiment something, or they just wanted pleasure, or they were just doing something. So at the end of the day, that person is stuck with someone they don't love. They are stuck with someone who they were given. So at the end of the day, Munye is likely to go and look for someone else that they love out there. To at least feel loved out there as they are coming to their misery back home. So panozoitika nyaya idzi dzekuti munhu azoita mwana kunze and stuff like that, it stems from these issues. And uyo yanenge asara kumba anozoona kunge anyanya kudzikisirwa. And another thing also ndo iyo yemafamilies yekuti munhu anenge akunyara nawo kuti how will my in-laws, my parents, my relatives, my friends, how will they see me? For example, maybe anenge atori kana munhu anozikana. You understand? Anenge ari munhu anozikana, maybe these days content creators are hunting for content. So vanobva vatokuita content for the woman kuti akazoitirwa mwana kunze nemurume wake. or murume uyu akazoita mwana kunze. So it becomes hard to accept. And even when they are in that situation, being made content and a laughing stock in the society, you will see that very few people would want to associate with such a person. They wouldn't want to be part of the content. Yes. If you check, I saw a post late last year of a top executive where a certain big football club here in Blawa, he posted on Facebook, and the post would clearly show that the guy was going to commit suicide, but no one did anything. And he ended up committing suicide. And people started saying, but he had posted that he wanted to do something, but no one came to ask what is going on. So the society that we are living in is a society of sad people with the happy pictures. Yes.
Yeah, you've heard it for yourself. We are a society with sad faces, or with the happy pictures but sad faces. So maybe coming to father to son support network, what can you say? Yes, I commit suicide, but that is very selfish. So why also Sarah, those that are left, one who struggling, they're not struggling to think to themselves, what is now the next step? What do we do? Maybe that person was the black sheep of the family. Maybe they were providing so many things, but now that benefit is taken off from their lives, and now they are thinking of that memory to say, so maybe one Baba Jawaj or my Jawaj and later say. So is father to start supporting it? Maybe what is your highlight, or maybe what are some of the things that you are doing in the community? To say these are some of the things that we are doing in order to prevent, or let's say help those people that have maybe families that have someone who have committed suicide.
Thank you so much, Coach. Right, as father to son, what we are trying to do is to prevent. We talk to men. You have a problem that you feel you can't solve. Talk to them. There was a program back then when we were still young, which was called 18. They would say, if you have a problem that you can't solve, talk to the 18. So we are saying, men, come. We have lots and lots of time to listen to you. We will hear your story and we will advise you. We have very elderly fathers, elderly men full of wisdom who will listen to your story and give you advice. Whether it's your girlfriend, whether it's your wife, whether it's financial issues, whatever the problem, we will listen. What's the greatest challenge that men are facing is that there is no one listening to them. Well, how are we doing it? We have a Facebook account. We post here and there, but if ever someone wants to talk to us, we have the link, they get in touch with us. We are there on WhatsApp, we are there over the phone, we are also there even on social media, on most social media platforms. We are there. And what do? We listen. Men want to be heard. And of late, most of the cases that we are having, they are either financial issues or relationship issues. And what have we done? We listen to your story. Whether it's on WhatsApp, we can talk to you. Even we have so many coaches and men who are willing to talk to you even on WhatsApp, to hear your story, narrate it as it is. And we also have a platform called the Father Son Support Network platform, where you can actually bring your case amongst other men. And men will tear it apart and give you advice. Not to take you down the drain, but the whole idea is to create safety nets for ourselves. To create safe spaces where we can converge as men and talk issues out. And not to bottle up issues and men think that maybe if I kill myself, I'll solve anything. We don't solve anything. And the other issues that men do is they drink beer to try and do away with the problem. Problems don't go away. Problems always be there, but a problem ahead is a problem solved. A problem spoken about is half solved.
Thank you so much. if you have heard for yourself that there is a platform that you can share your story or you share your grievance, whatever it is that is on your chest. Maybe I'm coming to say one. I came across this said scenario or this said story rather. Panimana, there was a child who was being instructed or who was being reprimanded by his parent rather. So mwana akanzi usadaro na mama pane zvaangaita. So it got to that child so much zvekuti akabva atofunga kuti to commit suicide ndo the solution because mama had been Israel havasi kufara nezvamaita. And as young as you are, what can you say or what advice can you give maybe to those scenarios or to those issues or maybe the parents have some sort of like disagreement with their child and those with a result maybe to abuse or those with a result to suicide, and commit suicide over a silly issue. What are your comments on that?
Alright, thank you so much for that one. Personally, I do think that social media has a lot, it contributes a lot, especially to issues that I like so. You're going to see that it's also particular to the result our Twitter scans are to Toresa, not to and there's something that I put as we do to Katangona, and I think I should do Roa. Madungotari so to but nowadays imagine because of social media especially they spend most of their time very much on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok and some so you're going to see that one of the Western cultures, the Eastern cultures which they see if maybe Managaroa, I have to report to police, which no I also have a say in this house. Because never not to tell no for Islam or some so I think that's something that which parents if they are not I may say that which not playing the role effectively. Because they are scooter actually for you to be this person, I will find out you see. So so not only should we also it is a lot to do with are they educated about this? Panama platforms there are with that you shouldn't do this. With my parents you should do this, you should do this. So I think those platforms they have to be many. I'm happy that to push my cooperative with the Confident Children platform. Saka ino moderation so that they can be groomed, so that they can know how to respect their elders. So then whenever they find again space they don't have time to argue with their parents, they don't have time with their children. So it's actually a platform where joining. If you have your children, bring them here, education and cooperative. So this one.
Thank you so much. And now maybe to round it off, I'll just maybe say to everyone, maybe they can just share their beats in terms of like their encouragement to men out there in terms of like when situations are overwhelming them. Is suicide the solution? And now I'm just posing a question maybe to say creation, to say I just put out my time. I think suicide, is it a spirit that comes to you to say it's telling you just commit suicide, you're not enough, you're not worthy, and you are not doing the things the right way. What can you say in terms of like spirituality? Kana wanzwa kuti wafana wanzwa that age to say I want to commit suicide.
It's a demon.
Yeah, is it a demon or what can you do to overcome or to avoid that?
Okay. A demon will not, for example, ask me to be a lady of the night, because I'm a man already. What is my point? a demon needs a conducive environment to influence whatever intended outcome it is pursuing. So conversations like this, because a demon works on available information. If there is no information, I think even in the Bible you hear that if I cast a demon and there is no substitution with the word, can go and invite 7 other demons and they come. What is the issue? The issue is about an environment that you are creating within yourself. Part of the things you need as an individual is accurate information about your particular issue. Number 2, you need a safety net. You need a person to talk to engage, to let out even your emotions. Sometimes what I need is not a person who has a solution, but a person with an ear. The two are not the same, but their impact can be the same. I feel like I have achieved something just by letting out. And with men, it's not very common because we are so solution-oriented that we think what I need from Max is a solution. Sometimes all I need is an ear. Sometimes the truth is I don't have money for it. If I tell you, he might not give me money for it. But at least that, hey, someone is known. They say a problem shared is a problem solved. So just the ability to share problems. We now need that as an art as men. So it is, it can be spiritual, yes, but I'm saying the demon rides on something. It is spiritual, yes, but create an enabling environment for your mental wellness, such that suicide has nowhere to know.
So just maybe rounding off, we can have maybe our word of encouragement to the listeners, to the viewers out there. Maybe we can start with Coach Nanjo until everyone's done.
Okay, suicide is not an option. Make sure to find someone to talk to, find a go-to person, and have your issues heard. If you need an ear, people are there to give you a listening ear. Not all people actually, but find a person that you trust, a person to confide on. And for the men that also might want to speak to us, we are there as Father to Son Support Network to give you that ear. We are there to also assist where we can. So you can just find us on our social platforms. We are available to help you as the administration for Father to Son Support Network.
Okay, for me I would say as men, let's be brothers keepers. At least be, you can lend a listening ear to someone who is going through something. You might not have the solution like what Sir Grayson said, but just lending a listening ear and being also confidential about their issue, not going around, throwing their issue here and there. It's not good. It will actually worsen. And let's not make fun of things. Someone's breaking point, someone's laughing point can be someone's breaking point. What looks silly to you may break someone down. So do not say, and you make fun of it. You might even drive someone deeper into committing suicide. And suicide is not an option. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I want to speak to someone. Either it's a young man, you recently married, or you've been married for some years, and maybe your girlfriend or your wife cheated on you, whether you found them, literally found them doing whatever they were doing. I want to advise you that life goes on. Life goes on. There's life after all that has happened. Life continues. It doesn't end there. So we need to have that mindset to agree to yourself, to talk to yourself and agree that life is going to go on despite what has happened. It's not the end of the world. A lot of boys and a lot of men think, no, if this happens, or I've invested too much in this girl and then she's left me. There's life after that. Money is not everything. Life is more precious than anything that you can ever think of. So I just want to encourage someone to say, go on with your life. Nothing can really end it. You should let your life be ended by the one who created it, not yourself. Thank you.
Alright, thank you so much. My advice to both the men and the boys is that you have to be fully equipped. Go for wisdom, go for knowledge. And this, speaking in the sense of at times you're going to see that as a man, most probably, the moment you start making a few dollars, or if you're earning more than what you have, uchiona kuti pane kamwe yako unongoita sokuti now you can be able to manage maybe two ladies at the same time. So zvinogona zokupa pressure. Ukazotadza kumanage that pressure, it becomes a challenge for you. Therefore, you might end up committing suicide. So just to aid financial trauma and acquisition duty, you need that safe space. You need someone to equip you with wisdom and knowledge until the routine. If this happens, you have to do this and this. You have to get proper guidance. You have to know what you're supposed to do. Because I'm not going to tell you to manage a pressure, but I'll tell you on my platforms already and look at that room so that you can be able to manage the pressure that you will be facing. Also invest in my counseling sessions. Just go out, look for people to talk to, look for someone to talk to. Obasirika, therefore raise the load that you have.
We have also life coaches here who can help you.
Yes. So suicide is not an option. Yes, you have got all the hope that you need. You just have to look for it.
Thank you very much for your word of encouragement. And let's say people want to follow you, want to see where you're doing most of your work. Where can people find you? Say this one.
I'm on Facebook.
Okay.
But I'm also a participant on Father to Son.
So thank you very much.
Yeah, also on Facebook, I'm also on Father. I'm administrator at Father to Son Support Network, and you are also one of the life coaches that you get to speak to when you have issues. And you'll be working on the ways to solve it if you feel better at the end. Then I also work with Coachman Corporation. You will also find me most of the times there. Thank you.
Okay, I'm mostly found on Facebook. If you just go and search Coach Tavani, you'll see the page there. If you need any help, you can inbox and you'll get in touch with me.
If you go to Facebook, Father to Son Support Network, that's the account to go to. In my mobile, there's a mobile that receives any issues to do with Father to Son Support Network. And the mobile is 0713 868 487.
Alright, thank you so much. Currently I'm working with youth on assignment. This is a youth organization which mainly focuses on equipping especially young people. So you can actually search for that one to help you if you're youth. But then again, I'm also working with Father to Son Support Network. This is where we will be talking as men, as you can see, trying to solve masculinity issues that men see, the challenges that men go under, that they go through. So this is where we can find us.
Thank you very much. So if you have read for yourself, this is what happens, or this is what some of the men are facing out there. We've actually tackled some of the root causes and what causes a man to cause suicide. Looking at the numbers and as well looking at the solutions. I know that you may be overwhelmed as a man. You might have been in some sort of like a squabble. You might be in sort of some of the issues that you might have faced. There might not be really things that you may say to yourself, I want to really talk about. But as this gentleman will actually say, find someone to talk to. In as much you might have trust issues, but find confidence in sharing your story to someone who wouldn't want to lose your life at the very end, because your life is very important. And as father to son support network, we are here to talk about these issues and demystifying them and giving you ideas on what you can resort to. At the end of it all, we want to build a generation that is able men, strong men that share insights together. We know that maybe madara akusisina, but ndisu wacho wakuplay that for ndisu anana sekuru, ndisu anana mbuya, ndisu anana titi. So thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to the next episode. And we want you as well to join in. Invite another person who hasn't watched this podcast to actually make them see that we are making impact. From me and the team, and from the team behind the scenes, it's a goodbye.